Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So it is Monday, May 29th, right at noon. Temperatures in the low 70s and the humidity is about the same. And it's also Memorial Day. And I just wanted to stop and share a moment of silence with y'all for the brave men and women who've paid the ultimate sacrifice so this country can remain land of the free because of the home of the brave. To all the Donnie Vincents, the Philip Paul Clarks, the Bradley Atwells, thank you for those brave men and women who've paid the ultimate sacrifice so we can continue to enjoy our freedoms just like this. All right, folks, so this is the second inspection of May, and it's the very end of the month. It's been a pretty busy month. We've had a lot of weather lately, which has postponed me getting out into the bee yard. But here we are. Let's get into the hive, see how they're doing. I'm very curious to check on a few honey crops. That right there, that swarm trap in the very last hive, that's from swarm number 11, previous video. Check that out if you haven't done so. But yeah, short introduction this week, a lot on my mind, given the holiday weekend and with today being Memorial Day, like I said. So let's get to it. Get into the hives for the second time this month. This is the one I'm very curious about. I really want to see how much work they've done in that top box over the last 2 weeks. And then later today, if not tomorrow, I'm going to treat them with some oxalic acid, and any of the hives that have honey supers that I'm going to try and harvest. I purchased, I haven't committed the brand to memory just yet, but I purchased the oxalic acid that actually does have the details listed on the label that it is safe to use with honey supers on. It is noticeably more expensive than the Florida Labs brand. I paid, from Man Lake, I paid about 50 bucks, like $49 and some change for 350 grams, which is just over 12 ounces. So like I said, noticeably more expensive, but then again, if you can use it throughout the nectar flow, and especially when you have supers on that you plan on harvesting honey from, and it is signed off by the EPA and FDA saying that it is safe to use for human consumption, so be it. So anyway, that's that. Let's get into the hives and inspect them for the last time in May. All right, down here at the hive in the first position. So I'm gonna change things up this week just to make the videos a little shorter, because I have noticed they are starting to get a little long. So I'm just gonna continue the same tradition, share a first look with y'all, and then really just show you a few highlights from each hive. All right, here we go. So if my memory serves me right, this hive, to include most of them, if not all of them, have marked queens. So here we go. Quick first look. Ton of propolis. Some really thick, fat frames. And I'm just gonna get into them, conduct a routine inspection, and really just show you any highlights. All right, about halfway through the colony, and after taking a peek ahead, this next frame looks pretty nice. Haven't found the queen just yet, but you can see she's been working pretty hard, and so have the bees between the capped brood and the pollen in between the cells. This colony is looking pretty nice. Let's take a look at one more frame together. They're starting to get a little feisty. The weather has been pretty overcast and rainy for the last few days. That is a mature queen cell up here, if you can see that or not. So let me continue to move frame by frame, make sure they're queen right. All right, if you can't tell by the chaos, so second to last frame, frame number 9. That's another it's another queen cell, kind of oddly developed, sticking off of the frame like that, and no signs of the queen just yet. One more frame to look through. And like I said, pretty confident she's marked, so perhaps they swarmed. All right, so anyway, I'm just gonna let this go and check in on them next weekend and kind of see what's come of it. Before I forget, let's mark some top bars. So we got one queen cell there, and then one on the 9th frame, so that'll serve as a reminder for next week. All right, that is it for this one. Plus, another sign that a hive might be queenless is based off the temperament. So the bees are usually pretty calm this time of year because they're focused on the nectar flow, but as you can see, this hive is pretty feisty, is pretty worked up very easily too, which is also a sign that they might be queenless. So just something to consider. All right, that's it for this one. All right, after quite a bit of smoke, finally got hive number 1 settled down some. Speaking of smoke number 2, give them half a second. Let's get into them. All right, so here we go. Like I said, just give you all some first looks. They got some really fat frames here in the middle, which is kind of common, and then the outside frames, not really a whole lot of anything going on. This was most likely a swarm. Can't really remember which one anymore. I do plan on going back through my videos here sometime soon and getting everything accurately labeled. That is something that I neglected this year, because I didn't really have anything to mark the hives with that I liked. But I bought some identification tags here recently. I just haven't taken the time to go back through and watch all the videos and try and figure out which hive is what. But before I start going through frame by frame, check this out. Imagine if all your frames look like this. That is fantastic. All right, let me go frame by frame. Again, I'll just show you some highlights as I come across them. And that is one of the reasons why I like marking my queens. Extremely easy to find. Now let me cage her real quick. And business as usual. It is kind of odd to see her on a frame so heavy with capped brood, because there's really nowhere for her to go. So the reason I cage her, even though I obviously can see they're queen right, is just so I can safely inspect the rest of the frames. If they have any queen cells, I will tear them down since they are queen right, in an effort to prevent any swarming, even though it is that time of year. Oh, look at this frame. Good God. Check out the outer food frames this colony has been developing. All right, nothing unusual here. That is the last frame that has any real activity on it, so I'm just gonna box them up and that'll be it for number 2. Let's get her released. And And there she goes. All right, now I have to admit, this is the hive in the third position. This is the hive that has 3 honey boxes on. The top box I added 2 weeks ago, and I have been looking forward to getting into this hive for the last 2 weeks, right? So no smoke. Let's pop the top, do a first look together. Oh boy. I have a feeling this inspection might take a while. All right, I'm gonna let the camera roll for a little longer than usual. No real need to check the top box at all since I have a queen excluder on. I have been thinking about this because I've been adding the boxes vertically, meaning as needed, and I think it's best to add the newest box, so the top box, directly above the brood chamber, so I might end up reversing some of these boxes. I did go through, after last week's video, I had a medium frame that had a whole bunch of drawn comb on the bottom side of it from another hive. So in the previous video I said all the frames were brand new, and then I went through afterward and swapped it out. But yeah, this is exactly what you want to see. You definitely want to see a lot of bees on the frames working them, and I saw something that I definitely wanted to see on this one, which is this right here. Actually, it's the next one. So not a whole lot, but they are drawing out some comb, so that's great. All right, so I'm just gonna remove this box and get into the next one, which has a whole lot more food stores. Yeah, that's what I like to see. So they were working this box pretty heavily. I'm just gonna pull a few frames and see if they've been able to finish them a little more. So let's pull the center frame, see how that's looking. And I usually run 9 frame supers, but I'm just gonna try something a little different this year and run a 10 frame super. So that looks pretty nice. Check out this next frame. Yeah, check that out. Beautiful. All right, that's it for this one. I'm just gonna pull this box. In fact, I might reverse them to make it easier to add the newest box to the bottom. Put this box back in the middle, and then the bottom box, which has been on since April 1st, put that on top. All right, just a quick look at the bottom super. Oh, that's interesting. This super should have a lot more progress than that. Maybe they've been shifting some resources around. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Let's see. All right, that frame's a little better. And so is the next one. Yeah, that's a heavy frame. All right. Yeah, it looks like they're filling from the outside in. It was a bit concerning to pull the center frame and for it to be pretty light. All right, I'm gonna try and just let the camera roll. Obviously, this colony is pretty darn strong, if you can hear me or not. Every frame I've pulled so far, which is 3 of them, packed with brood, which is pretty much what I expected to see. It is really impressive also to have a colony this strong And I've said it before, a sign of a healthy colony, you'll find patches of drone brood. Alright, there she is right there. Hopefully you can see that. Should be in the center of your screen. Again, actually I'm just going to put them back. Let me find her because she was crawling. Alright. So this is the newest honey box. I'm going to put that on the bottom, right above the brood chamber, so they can work that. I'm gonna take a break for a little bit because it is getting out of control with hive number 3. They are extremely strong, extremely active, and they will let you know you are not welcome here right now. All right, down here at the hive in the 4th position, which my memory does serve me well, and this is swarm number 10, which was the swarm rescued from Southwest Elementary School maybe about 3 weeks ago. So it was a pretty small swarm, which is why they're still in this 5-frame box. But here we are, it's another week. I know they have a marked queen. So let's see if they need more space. Ton of bees flying around still from hive number 3, which is it's kind of like my mega hive. Pretty strong, to say the least. I do remember this colony has been building some pretty funky comb. It's almost like no matter what I do to help them out, they just continue to draw some odd looking comb. I might just let the camera roll since it's only a 5-frame, but we're starting to move along. Should notice a whole lot more bees in the next few weeks once a lot of this brood hatches out. I don't think they're ready for another box just yet. But let's see how they're doing first. Yeah, she's laying pretty nicely. Ton of eggs. And practically all these cells, it looks like they've already gone through one brood cycle. So not bad. Not bad at all. To include making use of this very small patch of comb. Now she's marked like they all are. Oh yeah, granted that's right. So she could be anywhere because this frame, they successfully built it off of the plastic foundation. So it has a whole bunch of crevices behind there. She could easily be behind there, which I kind of think she is. Let's check this last frame real quick. Not that I really expect to find her on it, just because it doesn't really have a lot of activity or anything, but some oddly drawn wax, which do that. I hate doing that, but at the same time, you know, what's it really going to do for the colony other than just make things more messy than they need to be. All right, that's it for this one. On to the next one. All right, down here at the hive in the 5th position. So let's see, this one has one honey box. It has a deep, let me show y'all. It has a deep in the middle, and it has a medium on the bottom. And what does come to mind with this one is I reversed the deep and the medium last time I was in them, so about 2 weeks ago, because the deep box, for whatever reason, really didn't have a whole lot of activity. So since bees build upward, I wanted to give them the opportunity to try and make more use. Oh, destroyed a whole bunch of comb there. I wanted to give them an opportunity to use the medium box, or I'm sorry, the deep box better. So that is really my primary focus with inspecting this colony. I really just want to see if the queen has started to use the deep, and if so, we can reverse them again. But I'll give you all a first look. Decent amount of bees in here, but you know, we'll see. TBD. Let me get through a few frames and I'll show you the center view, and hopefully we see more brood than we have in the previous inspections. All right, I'm on frame number 4, and judging by the age of some of the larvae, I would say the queen has started to use the top box, the medium, and in fact, there she is right there. Y'all can see her with that nice red dot, which is very easy to find. So it looks like she has started to use the deep box, which is in the center. So perhaps moving the deep to the middle box, which is a bit, you know, untraditional. Maybe that was a good idea. All right, I got her caged, set her aside, and let's look through the rest of these frames, since the next frame is really the last frame that shows any promising activity. Yeah, I'll just keep the camera rolling. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks like they've done better use of that. And the next few frames really don't offer too much of anything, so they might just need more time. All right, let me get this box put back together, and then we'll get into the bottom box, which is a medium. All right, down here in the bottom box. So this sat on top of the deep, traditional setup for quite a few weeks, but I noticed the deep was extremely light, really not much of anything going on, no brood, no real food or anything. So I decided to reverse the boxes, like I said earlier, in an effort to really promote the queen to start laying more brood in the deep box. So it looks like that has happened, as y'all saw, to include still using the medium box here, or one of the medium boxes, as a extension to the brood chamber, which is all good things. So I'm just going to go frame by frame. If I find any queen cells, I'll tear them down since they're queen right, and that'll be it for this inspection. And everything looks pretty good. Let's get her released, put everything back together, and that'll be it for the hive in the 5th position here. As soon as she can find her way out of the queen cage. All right, there she goes. And And that's it. I don't mind if I do. So I'm actually gonna sample some honey here. All right, down here at the hive in the 6th position, nothing really comes to mind about this one. They do have a honey box on, so that's always it's a good thing if you are a beekeeper who is trying to harvest some honey. So, like usual, let's take a first look. I already see a few things that are very promising to me that I'll point out. For starters, check out that thick frame and a lot of nice new wax. So let me pull a frame or two, show you what I'm looking at, and then we'll get into the bottom box for a hive inspection. All right, some cured honey, a lot of open cells full of nectar, which it seems like they are in the process of curing. Oh, that frame's deceiving. That's funny. It looks good from the top, and then you pull it, and it's pretty empty. All right, no big deal. Still got pretty much another full month to make some stuff happen. All right, let's get into the bottom box for a routine hive inspection. It does have some decent weight to it. It's a sign of a pretty busy, healthy, well-populated hive. All right, very second frame. I told you I'd show you anything interesting. Hopefully you can see that on camera, but that is a pretty mature queen cell. So that is the second frame. So I'm just going to move frame by frame like usual. They were queen right the last time I was in them 2 weeks ago. So if I find the queen, I will tear down that queen cell, but first I need to find her. So, challenge accepted. All right, there she is right there, marked queen from this season. Hard to tell if she's thinning down because she's trying to swarm, but nonetheless, let's get her caged. All right, she's caged. Now I got some work to do. So I'm gonna go through and tear down any and all. Oh man, as I say that, check that one out. Yeah, unfortunately you gotta go. That's that. So, not to bore you to death, but yeah, I'm gonna go frame by frame and tear down any queen cells or queen cups, because they are queen right. Beautiful laying queen too, ton of nice brood. Definitely a queen and a colony I don't want to swarm, so if I can try to prevent that, that's exactly what I'm gonna do this week. All right, so I tore down all queen cells except for one cell on frame number 2, and that's because hive number, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, hive number 7, I left a brick on this one to indicate they were queenless last time. So I left one queen cell on hive number 6, frame 2, in case I need one for the very next colony. All right, there she goes. And once I get into them, if they are queen right this week, I'll just have to get back into this one and tear down that last queen cell. All right, down here at number 7, like I was saying, as I was finishing up number 6's inspection, they were in fact queenless, or at least I was calling them queenless last week. They do have a queen excluder on, so I shouldn't have to worry about anything in the top box. Let's take a quick first look. Ton of cross comb. I'm just going to pull a few, show you all that, and then really my focus on this colony is to get down in the bottom box. It's got some nice weight to it. Get down into the bottom box and see if they've become queen right in the last 2 weeks. The frame next to that one looked pretty darn nice too, and it's got some weight to it. All right, here we go. This is the real reason I want to get into number 7. I really just want to figure out if they've fixed their situation and have a queen. So aside from actually trying to find her whenever a hive has gone queenless, I'm really just looking for signs that they have fixed their situation, and that's usually in the form of eggs. If I can find eggs, obviously they have a queen and everything is right. So we have larvae. I know you can't see it on camera, but there's larvae right here. So that is fantastic. Keeping in mind, and eggs all on this side. Awesome. So keeping in mind they will have an unmarked queen. I am prepared to cage her and mark her if I'm able to find her. So first thing you gotta do, and there she is right there. Awesome. Let me get my cage right there, moving pretty fast. Hopefully you can see her. There she is. Just like that. Cool. Well, that was pretty easy. All right, let me go through the rest of the frames real quick just to make sure they don't have anything unusual going on, and then we'll get her marked. All right, here we go. I haven't done this in a few weeks. I feel a little rusty, but maybe not. All right, like a pro. And there we go. So that's good enough. All right, here we go. Number 7's new queen. It is fantastic to see hives rectify their own situations with getting queen right. There you go. All right, you guessed it, folks. Next hive, next inspection. All right, so down here at number 8, they have a honey box on with a queen excluder. Nothing really comes to mind. However, I am seeing a lot of good things, especially this time of year. Look at all that beautiful wax. All right, this looks like a good one. Let's see. However, as we've learned, don't judge an entire frame by the top section, but that is not the case with this one. That is a beautiful, beautiful sight, and in fact, so is the next one. Let's pull this one. Look, I'd say maybe 50% of that side. Maybe 50% of that side. All right, that is not why we're here. Let's give them some smoke and get into the bottom box to see just how they're doing. Damn. That does have some weight to it, if you couldn't tell by my groans and grunts. These plastic queen excluders aren't bad. They're very economic, aka cheap. But the one thing I don't like about them is just that when you go to remove them, they tend to pop, and it really flings the bees up in the air and gets them a little more worked up than I would like. The metal ones do cost almost twice as much from what I can remember. It's been a while since I've purchased anything like that, but I do like how you can remove them and they don't pop the bees up in the air. All right, you saw it. First frame, nice brood frame. Let's pull the next one just to see how that's doing. Not bad at all. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna go frame by frame like usual. Frame number 9, she is hanging out right there in between that crevice. So I'm just gonna get that put back. No need to cage her. They're obviously queen right. Very strong colony. Some folks have asked me how it is to run single deeps when you're trying to harvest honey, and they seem to do just fine. Been doing it for a few years, a few setbacks, but overall I think they do pretty darn good as single deep colonies. Man, that's heavy. All right, that's it for this one. All right, down here at the hive in the 9th position, give them some smoke. They have a queen excluder. She's always a good thing. Let's take a look in the top box, see what they've been up to, and then get into the bottom box for a routine inspection. And in fact, I do remember a little bit about this colony, and what I remember is they've been pretty light on the work in the top box here. I mean, they're doing some work, a ton of nice nectar in that frame, but overall I can see not too much going on. So let's get this box set aside, get into the brood chamber and see what they've been up to over the last few weeks. As long as they're queen right, I'd be okay with that. All right, on the 4th frame, unfortunately the GoPro really doesn't pick up on this, but nice capped brood and a rainbow of larvae. All right, now this is interesting to me. This is almost like a textbook frame on both sides, but the top box is just extremely light. So if this colony's population is about to expand, I mean, look at that. It's about to double in size. You would kind of think they would start packing away the nectar a lot better than they have been, but I don't know. We'll see what happens over the next month. All right, very last frame. Haven't found the queen yet. What do you think? Think she's gonna be on this one? Alright, well they are queen right for sure. They have plenty of signs. Plenty of eggs, ton of eggs actually. But she's done a pretty good job of baiting me this week. Alright, I couldn't help myself. And I'm glad I went back through the frames. She's right there. Ended up being on frame number 3. So let me slide number 2 over gently, get number 1 put back in, and that's all for this one. I just can't help myself sometimes. I just want all that brood to hatch out in the next week or two, and over the next few weeks some of the house bees to get out and start foraging for some nectar and fill that top box. All right, been out here for about an hour. Got through 9 of the hives. Just finished with this one. So we have the single 5 frame, which is 10, 11, and then 12. And the hive in the very last position, that is swarm number 11 that I transferred yesterday. Very curious to see what's going on with this one. I don't think they're swarming. However, there is a lot of activity coming and going. So I'm just gonna take a quick break, get out here in about an hour, and then finish up with, like I said, 10, 11, and 12, and that'll be it for this week. All right, ended up taking about an hour break. It is just after 3 o'clock, and I'm about to get into number 10, which is a 5 frame split from the hive in the very first position down that way. Get into number 11, and then number 12, and that's it for this week. As I said earlier, the hive in the 13th position, the very last position, was swarm number 11 that I just moved into the 10 frame equipment. So here we go for part 2 of today's inspection. All right, let's give them some smoke. They have some nice activity on the front entrance. And like usual with 5 frames, I will try to figure out if they need more space, and if they do, I'll add another box to the top of them and give them some vertical space to expand into. But it looks like they're making use of the first outer frame, which has new plastic foundation on it. Let's see how this second frame's looking. My memory serves me right, they had some very nice frames of brood the last time I got into them. This looks like a very nice nectar frame, food frame. A few other ideas and thoughts are starting to come back, like they may have swarmed the last time I looked at them, which was earlier this month. Let's see. Alright, let me get my flashlight so I can see down in the cells. I do not see any signs that they are queen right, and I might end up swapping 1 or 2 frames from another colony onto this one, or into this one, in an effort to try and get them queen right. Yeah, I'm starting to think they may have swarmed. And out of all the swarms that I've caught this year, I had yet to catch a swarm with a marked queen. So if they did swarm, I didn't catch them. All right, so it does look like number 10 swarmed and has become queenless sometime in the last month, give or take. All right, moving along to number 11. I'm very curious to see what this colony is up to this week, because there has been just very unusual activity coming from the entrance, meaning just like very, very busy. Busier than you would think for this time of year. And it doesn't look like they're swarming, but I don't know what to make of it. That's why I'm kind of lost for words here. I'm not too sure what to make of it. Slightly concerned, I guess you could say. But yeah, check this out. How's this for a first look? Look at that cross comb. They're building some bridge comb on the top bars here just because of how the ventilated cover is situated. So let's do some quick cleanup. This has a queen excluder on. So this is a honey box. Let's pull a few frames like usual. Let's see what they've been up to. Yeah, they've been working. And check out that next frame too. You can see that. They've definitely been working this nectar flow. Alright, let's get this box set aside. I don't want to disrupt them too much. Feel the weight of this. Man, it's decent. Easily 20 pounds. Alright, here we go. Nice. Scrape that off, do some cleanup, and just get into the bottom box for a routine inspection. I'm starting to think that maybe not getting into the hives every single week. So I'm on almost like a bi-weekly schedule right now, so twice a month. I'm starting to think maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. Alright. Last 2 frames to go. So far, each frame has had just beautiful capped brood, just like this one. Haven't found the queen just yet. No signs that they would have swarmed, so no signs of queen cells or supersedral cells or anything like that. Alright, last frame. Man, she's doing a good job hiding from me this week. Alright, I don't see her. I'm gonna go back through the frames just for my sake, really. I'm also gonna pay closer attention to some frames that have some day-old eggs, and possibly move them over into the previous frame, or the previous hive, which is number 10, or the hive in the 10th position, the 5 frame, that has, well, appears to have gone queenless sometime in the last few weeks. So I'm just going to see if this colony has 1 or 2 good frames with day-old eggs, like I said. Alright, persistence pays off. There she is. Alright, at this point, let's see, let's let her settle down. Alright, I just wanted to cage her just because I really didn't want anything to happen to her. Now that I know they're queen right, yeah, I might grab a frame or 2. Let's see, I think this frame looks pretty good with some young eggs. Alright, anyway, I'll do that off camera. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna take 2 from 11 and put them into number 10. And honestly, I think 10 can afford to lose that one. Give number 11 some extra space to work. And let's see. I don't want to take too many bees from number 10, since 11 has a very healthy population. And the 2 frames I'm going to give them, I'm going to give number 10 from 11, have some very nice day-old eggs. And in fact, one more party trick to get number 10 moving in the right direction. Let's increase their bee population by a frame or so. There we go. All right, get them boxed up. Let's smoke number 11, get things kind of under control. We'll get the queen out of the cage, release her. And that's it for this one. All right, good Lord, almost done. All right, you guessed it, folks, down here at hive number 12, or at least the hive in the 12th position. Don't really remember much, so you are all caught up. I think this is one of the swarms, one of the recent swarms that I condensed into a traditional single 10 frame versus a 5 frame nuke. Quick first look, seem to have a ton of bees, which is a good thing. So let's crack them open and see what kind of trouble we can get into. All right, maybe this is a better first look. So not much work, most of the work coming from the center there. Let's pull a few frames quickly, and I move swarms from the stacked 5 frame nuke setup into 10 frame equipment. I always put the frames that were in the top box on the outside of the 10 frame equipment, because most of the bottom frames are the frames that came from the swarm. I'm looking at some nice larvae, and it just gives them direction to build out to. All right, some nice capped brood. I'm trying to think whether or not this queen is marked. I'm pretty sure they're all marked by now. Very nice brood, solid frame here. Some drone cells at the very bottom. I'm looking down in the cells that I can see, and yeah, I see eggs. So I have no doubt they are queen right. It would just be nice to find her. Oh, there she is. Yeah, nice size to her too. All right, let's get them put back together. Where'd she go? All right, that does it for me, folks. So it's about 3:45. This time of year, I break up the hive inspections into 2 segments. I try to get it done in the same day. I'll do a few hours in the morning, a few hours in the afternoon. The break is definitely needed and appreciated. I've tried to one-shot it a few times, and even though the weather today is not too bad, the temperature's in the low 70s. In about a month, when it gets up into the hundreds, that's when it starts to become unwise to get out here for hours straight with no real water break and try to get everything done. It's a bit unnecessary. But hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. Take a minute to reflect on what that really means. I know what it means to me. I've been serving in the Marine Corps for 23 years now, and you know, I've lost more friends along the way than anybody should ever really have to experience in a lifetime, but it's all part of the commitment. So I do miss a lot of those folks that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, and they're on my mind more than anybody will ever know. But just take a minute, that's all I'm asking, to really think about what today means. And if this was what freedom means to you, then, you know, just understand how it is that we have this sort of freedom in this great country. So that's all. All right, good inspection. Again, second inspection of May. Pretty busy. This hive definitely had me a little concerned because they are very, very strong, and all the activity you see is more so because I've been out here and disturbing them, but things will settle down here in a little bit. It's been a good day. I've definitely enjoyed some time off from work. That does it for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cole's Farm here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, home of Camp Lejeune and Marine Corps Air Station New River. Part of bringing freedom to everybody that watches this. Hey, if you're looking for some local honey, get in touch with us, whether that's through Google Maps or Instagram. Hit us up with a DM, or shoot us a text, or leave a voicemail on our business account. Hey, something new, actually, speaking of something new on Instagram, I replaced our link in our profile. It used to be YouTube. I replaced that with Linktree. Finally got around to making a profile. So now, if you find us on Instagram, hit that link and it'll take you to our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and a few other things we have going on. Our Square site to buy local honey. And if you like these videos and or want to sponsor a hive for the season, I created a few initiatives this past week that basically allows folks to do those sort of things. So that's it for me. Probably said that a few times. For real this time. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time.